efficiency shelter. There's so much ground to cover in the Commonwealth. Where should we go next? My systems are continuing to function at peak efficiency. It's astounding how much we still have to discover out here.
Hello everybody and welcome to our final episode of Fallout 4. It's a bit of a two-part episode. The first part of the episode was us collecting all of the Islanders Almanac magazines. Sadly, we only had one left, and I, not knowing in episode 104 how long it was going to take to collect, I ended it there. Unfortunately, it only took us a few minutes to collect it, but it gives us this opportunity to look back at our playthrough of Fallout 4, what we accomplished, what we didn't accomplish, and where we go from there. So before I jumped into the video, because I've enabled console commands to give us our free cam here and to remove menus and that, so doing some quick research, we entered this world of the Commonwealth in 2277. The current date is April 15th, 2288. So in our entire gameplay of Fallout 4 here, we have spent 11 years in this wasteland. We've accomplished a lot. We've done some good things, we've done some bad things. But overall, we've done a lot. We didn't really transform Sanctuary here as best as we could have, as best as I have done in some of my personal playthroughs. But I didn't want this playthrough to focus on just settlement building and doing that. So we did the bare minimum we needed to get settlements up and working. That being said, we've got random, fairly generic buildings to house beds for our residents here in Sanctuary. We started doing some big improvements over here at the Red Rocket that didn't really go anywhere. We were been using the Red Rocket as a bit of our home base, and wow, the game glitched. Well, oh. But you can kind of see a bit of what we've done around here. We've walled in completely around the Red Rocket and all that. Let's go back to Sanctuary because that's not glitching out. As badly. But in those 11 years, we've explored the entire Commonwealth. We didn't visit all the sites that we possibly could have. We hit the major ones. We hit a lot more of them, completing the little side quests that I wanted to do, collecting all the magazines, collecting all the bobbleheads. One thing we didn't do was collect all the sets of power armor. We've used most of them, but we didn't actually grab them, bring them back to a central location, and store them. But I've enjoyed our time here in the Commonwealth. I'm a huge Fallout 4 fan anyway, or a Fallout fan of any of the Fallout games. 4 was my first real foray into the Fallout universe, and then of course I backtracked into Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, and then the original 3 Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics. and such. At some point in the life of this channel, we are going to touch on all of them, probably working backwards like I did. So our next series, when we get to a Fallout series, is most likely going to be Fallout New Vegas. Other than Fallout 4, by far my favorite of all the Fallout games. Between 4 and New Vegas, I've spent thousands upon thousands of hours in both worlds. I know from collecting the Fallout 4 videos, this playthrough, we've spent roughly 105 episodes, each one at about an hour or so, give or take. So I'd say we've spent, it's fair to say we've spent 115 or so hours of playthrough. Well, I guess some of these commands are wreaking havoc here on the game, which is weird. But yeah, we've explored Nuka World. I think we've hit every location in Nuka World. We explored Far Harbor. I don't think we hit every location in Far Harbor, but we hit the vast majority of them. You know, we've encountered raiders, we've encountered trappers in Far Harbor. We've decided to work with the raiders in Nuka World. We've helped set up some outposts for them here in the Commonwealth. And you know, we've grown. We've, like I said earlier, we did some things that we were proud of. We did some things that we weren't proud of. I think the game is having a heart attack, so let me... Alright, I'll leave menus off for the moment. But we've done quite well for ourselves. It's always a adventure when we dive into Fallout 4. That's why I've done, I don't know, at least 20 different playthroughs playing with the Minutemen and Railroad like we did in this playthrough. I've done siding with the Brotherhood of Steel. I've sided with the Institute. You know, this one we took a dark turn at the end and sided with the Raiders. I've also done the playthrough where we didn't side with the Raiders and we cleared out Nuka World. You know, there's just so many options in that you can do. And each playthrough you do is always slightly different. You know, I've never had two identical playthroughs, even if I've played through the same, following the same faction, doing the same things. I've never had the same constant playthrough. Everything changes. It's almost as if it's like a dynamic sort of game, even though it's not really. Yes, there are aspects of the game that I don't like. There's aspects of the game that I do like. The game, even still today, without real mods and that to help fix some stuff, is still extremely glitchy. But that's kind of the charm of the game, I guess you could say. Alright, we need menus. The charm of the game is its little glitches and quirks and stuff. And I love how you clear out areas and then when you come back to visit them, the mobs that you cleared out are still there. That's why I enabled cheats for this video, because I knew... Oh. I knew we would encounter stuff in this playthrough. I knew we were gonna encounter at least enemies that we have dealt with before, but I didn't... Ah, Brotherhood of Steel. Of course. This wasn't supposed to be a battle ending. This was not supposed to be this. Alright, come on. Yes, we've angered the Brotherhood of Steel in this playthrough. It's not supposed to be dramatic battle scenes in this video. But, yeah, we're supposed to be looking at our handiwork, not our... Let's jump someplace where it should be relatively quiet. Let's go to Nuka World. As I said, we've explored the Commonwealth pretty much to its fullest, from Vault 111 in the north all the way down to the glowing sea and all the way out to the castle. We've hit the variety of the landmarks and locations in between. Again, not all of them, but the major ones, the plot point ones. You know, we explored throughout the CIT before we destroyed it, because that was the path that we decided to take. And then we moved on here to Nuka World. And we've explored the Nuka World. We've cleared out the different parks for the different raider groups, as we decided not to side with the traders within the Nuka World market, and to side with the raiders themselves. And because I find it's more of an interesting playthrough, quasi evilish, where, you know, you've worked all the way up to this point, you know, with the Minutemen, the railroad, to rebuild the Commonwealth, to get everything back up and to a level of normalcy that was before the war, before the bombs dropped. And then you encounter this group of raiders that have this grand vision of what they think it should look like. You know, and, you know, I always turn to myself and say, you know, if this was me, you know, if I side with them, I live. If I don't side with them, they could just, you know, kill me now, and who knows. So it's a hard dilemma. So generally you always side with them, but then later on, when you meet Mackenzie, I believe it is, in the Nuka World market, she gives you the option of, hey, you know, why don't you get rid of the raider gangs and get us back to where we were? Use your contacts in the Commonwealth that you've developed, the Minutemen, you know, Brotherhood of Steel if you sided with them, the Institute if you sided with them, and take this back over and turn it back into the trading post it was before the raiders moved in. Now, you can go that route, or you can stick with, no, I like sitting here and rolling the caps in and doing little to nothing and generating all sorts of money and goods and that. You're living high up on top of Fizz Top Mountain. So that's another choice you're given, is, do you give all that up, take on all three raider groups at once? Because there's no, you know, picking and choosing, really. It's, you know, if you decide to do it early on, it's all three raider groups. There's no place safe in the park for you to go. There's no easy way to get all the way back here to the entrance, where whichever faction you've sided with and are friendly with from the Commonwealth meets you and helps you push in. You've got to fight your way all the way back out here. And it's not pretty if you're not prepared. I there's been because there's raiders within the market there, so if you decide to go that route in the market, you know, it's instant. Actually, no, I think you go to assassinate one of them first, and then they all turn hostile. So depending on if you go with to the disciples first to assassinate Nisha, you have to then fight your way back out of their area. Or if you go to the operators to deal with Mags and her brother, you know, then you gotta fight all the operators out. Or Mason and the pack, you gotta fight your way out of that amphitheater. And then once you're out, you're in the streets of Nuka World. Now you've got all them pack operators disciples coming after you. So that's if you want to do a truly nice playthrough, that's the way to do it, but it adds a whole lot of difficulty to it. And if that's what you're up for, all to you. But it's difficult on its own to do in an easy playthrough or a normal playthrough, like we're doing on this one. I can only imagine what it'd be like doing it that way in a hardcore mode. Which I actually haven't done too much of. I haven't gotten very far doing a hardcore mode playthrough. It's something that's on my bucket list of things to do. But it's not in the pages of the book right away. It might be something we do on the stream or something. Or I might just do on my own. But yeah, we visited. Let's see if it'll work. Let's see if we can get a overhead look of our area here. But we visited all the parks. We've cleared out all the parks. We hit all the surrounding buildings and such here in Nuka World. It's actually a pretty cool place to explore. It's a lot bigger than it looks. You know, you look at the... I won't load up. You look at the map in like your in your Pip-Boy of it, and you know, yeah, it looks big. Seems like it's a big area in that. You don't actually get the scope of how big it is until you're actually exploring it. And that. But Nuka World was a great addition. I love the added weapons, the new location, different raider groups, different perks, and all that. That was exactly what the game needed at the right time. So now let's head back to the Commonwealth and head over to Far Harbor. Actually, Far Harbor came out before Nuka World did. And that. But Far Harbor was a nice change of pace, I think, from the game. You know, those of us who have been playing the base game for a while, you know, may have been getting kind of bored, having done everything that there was to do in it. And that, so Far Harbor, you know, gave us a new location to go explore. And it's not that it's a bad location. It's an actually really good location. It's heavy in its own lore outside of Fallout's lore, which is cool. You meet interesting new people. Dima, for example. You find out that Nick Valentine does have a brother, Dima. If that's actually the case, you know, that's depending on how you want to feel. You can see it as, yes, Dima is his brother, or no, Dima is just using the illusion that he's a synth, Nick Valentine's a synth. They have to be brothers of some sort. You know, is Dima evil? yes and no. Depends on how you want to look at things. Um, you know, you start off meeting him, he seems nice, he's got good intentions, he wants to build this nice, safe refuge for escaped synths from the Institute. But then as you play through more, you start to learn his dark little secrets, you know, about Captain Avery, about, you know, how he can cut Far Harbor off from their electricity to let the island, the fog, roll in and take out all those of Far Harbor. You know, his little side pact that he had set with the children of Adam at the nucleus there. All that stuff, you learn and you're like, wow, we don't really know who Dima is, what he is, what his intentions are. And it leaves it up to you to decide on how you want to do things, how you want to handle things, like the children of Adam. I always get the feeling in the discussions with Dima in that there's something that needs to be dealt with. They're, you know, going after the people of Far Harbor, all because they don't believe in Adam and his glow and all that. So they want to wipe Far Harbor off the map. Dima doesn't want that to happen. You know, Far Harbor wants you to go and wipe the children of Adam off the map. So there's multiple ways you can go at it. You can wipe children of Adam off the map, you can wipe Far Harbor off the map, or you can try to strike a compromise between the two with information in that you learn. Any direction you go with that, you're going to anger one other faction or another and, you know, end up having to destroy one of the factions. And that there's no way to make everybody happy. That's something I quickly learned in my multiple playthroughs of Fallout 4 is you can't please everybody. So you have to pick and choose. And then you learn, you know, like I said about Captain Avery, it's like, do you want to tell the residents of Far Harbor that, hey, your leader for the past however many years is actually a synth? You know, while she was a human, she had a meeting with Dima. Things didn't go as planned, and Dima killed her and replaced her with a synth so that, you know, he could have more control, have a better grip on the community of Far Harbor. Alright, we gotta find someplace else to stand where we're not getting chatted at constantly. You know, and so he uses Captain Avery sort of as a spy and a way to have a grip on them, and holds the ability to cut their power off and let the island roll in over their heads with the shutdown codes for the wind turbines. Without power, their fog condensers don't work. Without the fog condensers, the fog rolls in, and the vast majority of the creatures that you encounter here in Far Harbor will slowly creep in and just wreak havoc on the city. You get a good sense of that when you first get to Far Harbor, playing the DLC, and you have to help defend the wall against these creatures in the night. You know, it's really a complex game. Really makes you think. Your decisions do have consequences. That's all the Fallout games have been like that. You know, you're given multiple choices to choose. Not all of them are the best choice, but you have to find the one that, for your play style or the way you want to play the game, fits it. And that's what I enjoy about the Fallout games, and I think a lot of the other fans of the Fallout games enjoy it as well. That's really all I had to do was my final thoughts of the game, and, you know, kind of explore the locations a little bit. The major locations like Nuka World, Far Harbor, where we spent most of our time in these past, oh wow, I'd have to say it's been about 2 years real world that we've been playing it. We did have a large hiatus in the middle because I got a little overwhelmed by it. But we've spent 2 real-world years playing this game to make this series. We spent 11 in-game years exploring the region and everything that there is. And in my opinion, we've, for the most part, left the Commonwealth a bit better off than we found it when we emerged from the vault the very first time. Being that this is the last episode does not mean this is the last time we will see ourselves in this Commonwealth, in this playthrough of Fallout 4. Like I said, there's still some things that we need to do. We need to capture and collect all the suits of power armor, both here in Far Harbor and throughout the Wasteland, the Commonwealth Wasteland, and set them up in a display somewhere. There's a bunch of Radiant different quests that we've got added. You know, we've got more jobs to run with Shank in the Commonwealth for our raiders. We can always turn and do open season now as well, and take out Mags and William Black and Nisha, and release those that are set up shop in Nuka World. We've got that. We've got more Gauntlet stuff to do. You know, Radiant eliminate Brotherhood patrols. We've got this little side quest that we picked up, and I'm sure there's other side quests that we missed. But we still got a lot to do. But I figured this was a good spot to end the series. We've done most of the major stuff that I wanted to do. I mean, power armor collecting, yes, it's nice, but it's not... There's no real need to have 25 different sets of power armor. Or however many sets there are. So I didn't mark that as a major milestone for us to complete the game. But collecting all the magazines, that was definitely one. Not only do you get bonus perks and stuff from the magazines, it's just nice to have that collection of all the different magazines. Collecting all the bobbleheads was a no-brainer as well for completion of the game. And of course, the main storylines in the Commonwealth, Nuka World, and here in Far Harbor, completing them. Any of the side quests not related to that, I kind of went, it's not really necessary, but we ended up having to do a lot of them while collecting the magazines. That will do it for us for this episode, for this Fallout 4 series. I know this video is coming out later. It was supposed to come out before we started our next series on Siberia, but sickness and other things got in the way of it. So this is going to come out not on a normal scheduled day. It's going to come out as soon as I get it edited and put together. And that, so we are at least a episode into our Siberia series, if not 2, by the time this comes out. And that is a nice calming break. It's a different type of play style, different type of game, compared to this sort of thing. But I do hope you enjoyed this episode. I do hope you enjoyed this series. Please let me know in the comments of any of the videos what you thought of the videos, what I did well, what I didn't do well. You know, if there's stuff that I didn't hit on in the series, let me know in the comments. We can hit it in additional videos of Fallout 4, or we can do in a live stream format of some sort. But please, if you've got any and all feedback on any of my videos, please don't be afraid to leave a comment. Any and all criticism of anything is appreciated. The only way we can grow, I can grow as a content creator, and us content creators as a whole, is by feedback from you guys, our viewers. So, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And I will see you in we'll do a similar thing at the end of our Siberia playthrough. But, yeah. Stay safe and have a great rest of your day, everyone.